Okay, class, let's talk about subjective value.
So, Professor, I did the readings, but I still don't get it.
Can anyone help her out?
So they say the value of a good is subjective. Well, that means the value can't be objective.
It means you don't base the price on cost or labor, but rather how intensely an item is wanted by your neighbor.
It seems subjective value can get lost in translation. Just because you have desires doesn't mean there are any buyers.
Right, the value of a good is based on wants and needs. If you can't understand this, you are deep in the weeds.
For the good some people want, sometimes they seem to taunt.
The value of a good is subjective, meaning it's based on individual perspective. The way I spend my money isn't the way you do, because what I deem important is different from you.
Like when I traveled across the plains and there was no sign of rain, think of how much I would have paid for a cold lemonade.
Okay, so like when I pay $100 to see my favorite band, some people would criticize, I just don't understand.
Exactly.
The value of a good is subjective, meaning it's based on individual perspective. The way I spend my money isn't the way you do, because what I deem important is different from you.
What about those who think the value is objective? Is the idea of objective value a different perspective?
Okay, class, now you are really confused.
But claims to objective value discard the individual perspective.
When the government attempts to nudge, that doesn't mean you will budge on how you value a good. This concept should be understood.
So when it's raining outside and you don't want to mess up your due, you grab an umbrella for the price of a canoe.
With subjective preferences, there is no measurement, so go write that in cement.
Subjective preferences give rise to objective prices, so cater to those unwanted vices and spend your money throwing dices.
The value is subjective when it comes to buying and selling, and that argument is very compelling. The buyer thinks it's a steal, and the seller thinks it's a deal.
The value of a good is subjective, meaning it's based on individual perspective. The way I spend my money isn't the way you do, because what I deem important is different from you.
Excellent! You have the best student ever!